Hello everyone, Monty here, and today I'm talking about how we treat ourselves and others is what really defines us. So I heard this quote, I'm stealing this quote from Oprah Winfrey. I love me some Oprah Winfrey, and I was just flipping channels, and there she was, and it was some kind of documentary on Oprah Winfrey, and it was for when the Oprah Winfrey show was just starting, and nobody knew who she was really, other than from being on the news. And the interviewer said to her, "So what's going to happen if the show doesn't become a success?" And she said, "My show doesn't define me. What defines me is how I treat myself and others." And I thought that was so powerful. I love that saying because I believe how we treat ourselves and others is what defines us. And I'm going to talk about the two types of people who treat others well, right? But not the one that is the person that treats themselves well and others, but a person that doesn't treat themselves well but may treat others well, and the difference between those two. Because I see like a syndrome of people who always think about other people besides themselves, right? People that are good, and there's unhappy people, right? So let me tell you the two types of people I see that don't treat themselves well, but they treat others well, right? So those would be the one, let's say a person like a mother or just somebody who doesn't feel good about themselves and don't think that they're worthy of, treating themselves well. And I'll give you an example. Like when I plate my food and I'm always trying to make it look beautiful, I posted a dish that was like really, really, really beautiful. I mean, some of mine are beautiful, but this one was like one of the top, I forgot which dish it was, and then this was like a couple of years ago, and then a follower responded saying, "Yeah, I may do that for company, but I would never do that for myself." And it kind of made me really sad that she didn't think that she was worthy of spending this, because she said it takes a lot of time, and I wouldn't, spend that much time on myself. And I know there are a lot of mothers that are like this. I see this with friends of mine, that they'll go out of their way to do things for their kids and their friends and everyone else but themselves. And it's really important, especially in a time like this with COVID-19, and it's very stressful, and I don't even want to go into it because I don't want to get on a negative train here, but it's very stressful, and we have to do things for ourselves to make ourselves feel better. I always talk about this, aromatherapy, always getting dressed. I was up at 7 o'clock this morning, walking the dogs with Debbie at 7:30. Usually we walk at 7, but on the weekend we walk at 7:30. And I always make sure I get dressed, wear something nice, make my bed, make the house look good, because that's what makes me happy. And I do a lot of things to make myself, try to do nice things for myself. And I do a lot of things to try to help others. But I think I see a lot of syndromes with people who have kids or people who are really low self-esteem. They're doing everything for everyone else but themselves, and they're really good people. Of course, there's the other aspect of people who are just miserable and they don't treat themselves well and they don't treat others well. And the first thing always comes to my mind, and some of my friends too, we've talked about this, when somebody is just really mean to everyone, they're just miserable people. They're not good to themselves, they're not good to others. They're just absolutely miserable people. And I think that if you do the right things and you're always working on yourself to try to treat yourself well and to treat others well, when you do run into a bad situation like I had with the crazy neighbor, right? I say to myself, I know I'm a good person. I'm not going to let this person's screaming hate at me define me or affect me in any way, because I know I'm a good person. However, I will say something. I think we have to take responsibility for the part we play in a negative situation, and I'll explain, right? So when this whole thing happened, when the dogs attacked my dog and Debbie's dog, they grabbed them by the neck and it was very scary. We never got an apology. Debbie and I were very upset, and I posted on Nextdoor. I thought about ringing their doorbell and saying, "Hey, why didn't you come to us, ring our doorbell and apologize? What are you going to say about your dog getting out and grabbing our dog by the neck?" But I was so angry. I know I've got a little bit of an anger management problem when I feel attacked. Like, my dog was attacked. It was very traumatic for Debbie and I. She was crying afterwards. I was shaken up. To see the dogs being grabbed by the neck, and I thought they were dead. I thought both dogs were dead. As soon as I saw the mouth go around the necks, I was like, and there was two of them. Debbie's dog got grabbed by the neck, and then mine got grabbed by the neck. By the other dog, there were two dogs that got loose. So, but when I look back at the situation, I'll never know if it still would have escalated to this point, because clearly this individual was disturbed to yell and scream the obscenities they screamed at me. Unbelievable, the things that they said. And so it may have still escalated to that situation, but I can acknowledge now that I didn't do the right thing. I shouldn't have posted on Nextdoor without talking to them first and seeing what their reaction was, and I probably contributed to escalating the situation. But that goes back to the situation, the comment I said about a long time ago. We are perfectly imperfect. But I think what makes us a person who's trying to evolve on our journey of life and be a better person is that we acknowledge the mistakes that we made and we learn from them. I can tell you right now, as angry as I am when my dog being attacked, I will be ringing the doorbell the next time that this happens. And there seems to be a thing with people not keeping their dog on a leash. Debbie and I were walking the other day, and as I went in the house, and while she was walking back to her house, another dog went and tackled her dog again and made the dog yelp this time. Believe it or not, last time the dog didn't make a sound when it was grabbed by the neck. But it's like these dogs getting out, it just off the leash just drives me nuts, right? So I'm sure we'll have another incident, because now I'm I'm walking with my taser, and if a dog comes at me, I'm gonna tase the dog, and I'm sure that's gonna end up in a big fight with a neighbor, but I'm not gonna let my dogs or Debbie's dog get attacked again. So anyway, I'm digressing here for a moment, but getting back to this chat, I wanna talk to you about not only just how we treat ourselves, a little bit more about, let's talk about when we treat ourselves well, people see that, and people admire somebody who takes care of themselves, who's well groomed, who's doing all the right things. We became a good role model, and people admire it. You wouldn't believe how many people, when they hear I'm 56, like, oh my God, you're 56 years old, Monty, you take such good care of yourself. And I've heard them say the words, I really admire that. So, I can understand if you're a parent and you're saying, and you put your kids first, you should, and I admire that, and I think you're a great person. But you have to make time for yourself. You can't put your husband, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your wife before yourself all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. You have to make the time for yourself. And I'm telling you, your significant others, your children, all those people that you're putting first before you are going to admire you for it. Let alone you're creating a good role model for your all these people as well. You're becoming a good role model for them. But I want to talk a little bit about some things also that happened to me in the last week. That was a big wake-up call, right? So I talk about being perfectly imperfect. I am by no means perfect, never will be. I'm always learning. I learned so much. I learned by the ugly situation with the neighbor how I could do things better next time, and I'm committed to doing that. Because now I have all this negative energy with this neighbor. It's awful. I passed him today in the looks, and it's just negative energy. But and I don't want negative energy in my life, but I just haven't figured out how to fix this. And quite frankly, I think this individual is so disturbed, I don't know that I necessarily want to fix it. But anyway, what I also learned a big lesson with my car accident, when a couple of bad things happen to you in one short amount of time, the universe is trying to tell you something, and we have to take notice. And I know it just sounds all hokey, the universe, but I'll tell you a couple stories here that really make me think that what you put out into the universe does come back. And sometimes the universe is trying to give you a message that, hey, you need to slow down. So I've been working so many hours every weekend, late at night, trying to catch up. I took a vacation, and they did training while I was gone, and I was expected to be an expert in something, so I had to take all the training, and I was put in this new role, and I had to learn it, and I was just being the perfectionist that I was working 14 to 18 hours a day, plus the posting, plus the cooking food, plus the taking care of my mom, shopping for my mom. I was pushing myself. I was driving fast because I was always hurried everywhere I was going, and I was so tired, and I even had this conversation to myself, maybe I shouldn't go to this class that I was taking to get my gun certification renewed, and I got in the car and I got into an accident because I was I think it was a combination of things. The sun was glaring. Even the police officer put that in the report, and the person who came to pick me up from the accident said they were blinded by the sun. But I was overtired, I was exhausted, and I think that if I wasn't so exhausted, maybe my reflexes would have been better, and I could have avoided the accident or saw the light, I don't know, but I think it was a combination of things. And I think the universe was just telling me, you can't keep pushing yourself, Monty, over and over and over and over and over again. You gotta slow down. And slow down with everything I'm doing in the car, everything else, right? So I took that message and I said, you know what? My company is gonna keep pushing me, and the only thing I can do is remove myself from the situation, so I'm gonna look for another job. And I said out loud to everyone, to you guys, I was gonna look for another job. I did redo my resume last Saturday, but then I spent the rest of the Saturday. I said, this weekend I'm going to send resumes out. I'm going to find a new job. But then the whole Saturday I was bringing everything in. We were supposed to get the hurricane, and then Sunday I was bringing everything out. It was I got a lot of lawn stuff, art outside on the walls. It was a lot of work. So Monday morning, I get a phone call from 2 recruiters for jobs. I had an interview. I'm not talking about names of the company, but it's a company I did work for that I had an issue with a manager and ended up leaving. And it was my dream job, my dream company, and I would love to go back to work for that company. So very, very exciting. I did pass the first interview. I'm going on to the next one, but there'll probably be 10. So I put out to Universe I wanted the new job, and lo and behold, people were coming to me. And I am going to send out resumes this weekend, but I have slowed down so much, and I have learned to say no. So many of you who put all these people in your life ahead of you, your job with me is my job. I put my job ahead of my personal life. I need to work on that. I've been talking about that. I did chats on that. And after this whole thing happened, my job came to me and asked me to take on more and more and more, and I kept saying no. It got so contentious with my management. This is what we're telling you, we're your boss, you're going to do it. I said, well, then fire me, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to work 18 hours a day anymore. I can't take on all this work. And I must have said, just fire me like 4 times. And at the end of the day, you know what happened? They said, okay, we'll get you out of this work so you can do the other work. They're going to take me out of this new position. They just put me in so I can do the other stuff they want me to do, because I'm the only person that really knows how to do this value streaming stuff. So I believe that we have to have the confidence in ourselves and be good enough to ourselves to know when to say no. And so now I'm saying no, but I'm also trying to find a new job. So I don't know why the Oprah Winfrey thing, I loved that saying, how we treat ourselves and how we treat others is really what defines us. But I think it's really important that when we do screw up, and we're going to screw up, I'll probably be 90 years old going, I wish I would have done that differently. But as long as I take the lesson, right? I'm still beating myself up a little over the accident because I could have killed somebody. It was my fault. I went through a red light, and I'm still beating myself, but I'm trying to talk myself through it to say, you know what? Thank God nobody was hurt. Cars were replaceable. I feel bad that I destroyed other people's property. One person's car got really messed up. The other one was very minor. And, but I'm okay. I learned a lesson from this. I got to slow down. When I have that conversation in my head,